Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I thought I'd go round and do something I have never done in the garden before, and that's just buds and blooms rather than views and plans and all that sort of stuff. We'll just have a look at what's around and try and get as close as possible so that you can actually see rather than these distant views you often get. So starting up this end, this is our native foxglove. This is self-seeded. So this particular plant is in a silly place. It's not where I'd have planted it, but you know, when things seed, that's what you do, that's what you put up with. So our native foxglove, there's a few of those around. Right, now I'm going to have to hold the camera differently to do the rest of it. We've got a primrose out. Now these come and go at any time of year really, apart from midwinter. They are an early spring bloomer under normal circumstances. That's when they have their sort of mass bloomings. So that's that. Which is the best one to look at. I'll have to lift this one up because it's drooped. But this is one of the purple aquiledias. Very attractive flowers, but the whole thing's drooped here. And the reason it's done that is this plant here, which is the we'll have a closer look at the blooms on that a bit further along. There's one that I can get at without bending over, but that's the campanula that's done that. Now this is red campion, and these are now buds in here in their sheaths. Now this will be the first time that's bloomed for me, so I don't even know what the blooms really look like. That's grass, as is that, so we'll pull that out while we see it. This is London Pride. Very, very tiny flowers, but lots and lots of them. And this plant grows along the edge there, and the flowers branch over, hanging out over the patio. Ooh, ow! Was this a good idea? Because there's lots of bending over going on. Not the best of ideas. Then we've got the Welsh poppy, or weeds as some people see them. I see them as a nice splash of colour, and they are welcome. They self-seed. As long as they do that, they'll be welcome here. And then behind it is the campanula that I was talking about, and they grow into a clump, and then they have these long spikes that protrude, which you can see on this particular clump, and then they have these lovely purpley blue bell type flowers. Very attractive. And just behind it is one of the geraniums. Now, this one would have come from Carol, along with lots of the other plants. And the trouble is, a lot of the plants have been in the garden a while now, and I've forgotten who sent what. But basically the plants in the garden either came from Carol in deepest West Wales, or from my friend Helen from the Orchid Society. Damselfly. Right, then we've got the rose. Now the problem with this rose is, I think they look their best as buds that are just opening, like that. Because once they open, they start to look a bit tatty, and they don't last that long, not really. But we've got plenty more to come. There's plenty of buds, and yeah, nice piece of colour. Then there's another one of the geraniums here. This is a lovely delicate pale coloured one. This, and there's tends to grow extensions and then has a mass of buds on the end. And then up here, this is Michaelmas daisies, and these will be the flower heads. Not really buds yet, but they will be in the not too distant future. And I presume you can see that. Beautiful colours. I hope you can see that anyway, because I can't see what I'm doing in this light, not on the screen. Hopefully you saw that anyway. And then tucked away in the centre of these tips here are phlox. And there's some more of the native foxgloves up the back there. So that's that lot. And then coming round here, this is all marjoram of some sort, and they're not really showing yet, but all of these heads here will flower soon. Then we've got the chives. They're in full flood at the moment. Quite attractive to bees. I haven't seen any butterflies on them yet, but again, a lovely splash of purple. And then there's the other rose. Both of the roses were here when I got here, so they belong to the property basically, rather than me. And this is what I call a cluster rose, so it has a huge cluster of buds. And when they open, they don't look as good, again, as far as I'm concerned, as the actual buds that are opening compared with those that are open. No fragrance on either of the roses, which is very disappointing. Right, then coming over here, we've got what was and what will be. This lavender came from Carol, and you can just start to see some colour. So that's going to be in flower soon. That's attractive to all sorts of things, bees, butterflies, a wealth. Now this ground cover here has flower spikes. That will be a first. I'm just going to put the camera back on my hand rather than holding it loose. And this yellowy ground cover has also got some flower spikes. So those will be the first blooms on either of those since I got them. The forget-me-nots are going. There are still a few in bloom. So there are still a few showing their lovely blue, but not many. And now we've got to do some clambering over to the back here. Oof. Right, so we've got another geranium that lives in the hedge and tends to grow very, very tall. Lovely patterning. And then over here we've got the pyracantha. And this comes out as a lovely mass of creamy white blooms, and it doesn't even last a week. So as far as, an ornamental shrub is concerned, it's not the blooms you get this for, it's the berries that are going to follow on, which are lovely bright orangey red, and there will be masses of them. So the only pruning I'm going to do on here are these long extensions, just to keep it in check. And then we will let the berries come. And then over here, can I get to one? That's the only one I'm going to be able to get to. We've got the massive clematis. Now this bloom is actually going over, but you can still see the size and the colour. There is another bloom up there, but it doesn't look very elegant because it's got one of the camellia blooms that's died back in front of it. And I can't get up there to do anything about that, I'm afraid. Right, so that's this bit done. Ooh, clamber out again. Now we come over some more of that geranium here. As I say, it's some plants that Hannah stuck in under the hedge to save them, really. That's all it was for. But they show some nice colour. And then down here is something a bit special. This is a mimulus, and this plant has hijacked a ride from 3 houses, from where I first bought it and planted it as a marginal to my wildlife pond. It then followed me down to my mum's house in one of the garden tubs, and now it's turned up here. Now this tub I'm going to have to do something about. I threw loads of water on this morning, and these plants are dry, so the only thing I can imagine is that the water's running down the sides. I put quite a lot of water on there this morning. Ooh, we've got no sign of buddleia flowers yet. We must be getting there soon though. Obviously the buds and then the blooms come out of the growing tips. It's going to be soon, but they're not there yet. And then over here we've got the last few of the cuckoo flowers. They've gone really. Lovely delicate lilac colour, but they've finished now really. And then not really planted in the garden, but we've got the blooms on the Sarracenias. It's just wild. The shape is just strange. A couple more to come as well, so we've got those. And then we've got this. This is in fact a weed, but it's actually wood sorrel. So it has actually got a proper name. It's classed as an invasive weed, and it can take hold of whole areas. So should we keep it? Flowers are lovely, and against that bronzy green foliage I think they're smashing. But it's hanging over the edge of the pot that it's decided to grow in, so it's going to start seeding in the beds. Now this morning when I came out here, I looked at the thyme, which is the ground cover that's all over the place here, and I'm sure I saw some buds, but I can't see them now. But basically we should get blooms on these growing tips in the not too distant future. I think they're embryo buds there at the moment. None of them are pushing on, showing any proper buds yet. Ooh. Straighten up. And then we've got the red valerian, which quite honestly is a bit of a showpiece this year. It's grown really tall, and the flower spikes are quite immense really. And because you've got buds only just opening and not open at all, you've got the much deeper colour on the buds yet to open, and then the mix of the pinky red with the deep red, and then the fully open blooms. Blooms are absolutely tiny, but when you've got that many of them, it doesn't really matter how small they are. Right, let me come around the other side of there, because I've got a place where I put my foot in there to be able to water the bonsai, to get close enough. Now this is sedum with grass. Unfortunately it's almost impossible to get at the grass because it's right down in amongst the plant, but I just pull it out every now and again, stop it getting too big a hold, and it can dry out in the sun. But this is sedum, and the buds will be coming soon. It's more of a late summer bloomer really, but these will extend, and then flat top masses of tiny blooms will come on the tops of the extensions. And then we've got the scabious, and that's now got lots of flowers on, and loads more to come. Now it looks like it's in a large tub, but it's not. It's in a pot inside a large tub. And this will be the last year it can survive in there, because the roots must be absolutely crammed. So it needs lifting out of its flower pot and planting in the tub, and then it will do much better. But loads of buds to come, and loads are actually open now. So that's that. Ooh. Over in the corner we're back to shrubs again. And again the pyracantha up there, blooms didn't even last a week. And as they go over they look awful. Now that's got to be pruned hard back to just above the top of the fence, but it's going to have loads of berries on, so we'll let the berries come and let the birds have a go at them, and then we'll cut it back much later in the year. This bush here has nice white blossom, and again doesn't last long, and I can't remember what happens next. Do we get berries? It's likely we're going to get something, otherwise what's the point of having blooms? But that's still to come. And then this is a cotoneaster that's self-seeded in this tub. The tub did contain a lovely golden fuchsia, but that died this winter. It survived the last few winters, but this year it didn't make it. But we did go down quite low, -8, -9 a few times. This has got loads of buds on, so this is going to flower soon. That. Oh, my back hurts today. And then we've got the perpetual wallflower that I didn't realise was going to get this big. It can get as big as it likes. The problem is down here it's getting a right woody, you know, not very attractive plant. But as long as it's got enough top cover and it keeps producing these spikes with these lovely purple blooms, then it can stay. And quite honestly, this particular variety, which is one of the most popular ones of the type, is for sale in a lot of places, and in the early spring, you know, just tucked inside to keep it out of the frost, they're for sale at very cheap prices. So if this plant ever gets too tatty to put up with, it can just be replaced very easily. But 3 different types of bees I've seen on here, as well as honeybees, and 3 different types of butterfly. So this is well worth having in the garden. What else have we got then? We've got another lavender here. Buds pushing on. All these extensions are buds. They will be in flower soon. They last quite a long time. Over here we've got some more of the London Pride down in there, and we've got some more of the red campion. As I said, the buds are in these enclosures on the top of the extensions, but it means it is going to flower, and that will be the first time. All of the red campion, I believe, came from Helen rather than Carol. Lots of the other plants actually came from Carol. So, in fact, Carol gave me the start of the garden, really. She sent 2 big boxes full from Wales of all sorts of plants, perennials, ferns, lots of different things to get the garden going, to get something growing in the garden, because there was very little here. These gravel beds were just that. They were just gravel and weeds. There was nothing nice in them at all. So all of the thyme, the cuckoo flower, that all came from Carol, as did the sedum. The scabious I bought. The weed just decided to come. The valerian, that came from Carol. This lavender came from Carol, the other one I bought. So yeah, I've had a lot of help with this garden, an awful lot. But there we go. That was a look round at buds, things to come, and blooms, things we've already got. And that's the first time I've gone in and done the close-ups. Is that absolutely necessary? Can you not fly without making a stupid noise? You do with some cough medicine. Typical member of the crow family. There's not one of the crow family that actually makes a nice noise. Magpies, jays, jackdaws, the whole lot of them, crows, rooks, they all make a horrible noise. Oh, now I can see why. There's a buzzard, and the crow is desperately trying to climb up to the same height as the buzzard, who is gliding gracefully on the up currents. They're a long way up, or I'd zoom in, and they're just about to fly across the sun, so I'd better move the camera, blind everybody. Anyway, so there we go. That's a look at the blooms and the buds, and some close-ups, which I don't normally do. So yeah, the poppies are doing particularly well. There's one up there in the corner. There's one up there that's just finished a mass blooming and has loads more buds to come on. This one's got quite a few seed heads and still got some blooms going on. And as I said, a lot of people like the roses. As long as I can get a spray on them early enough in the year to stop all the black spot, which I've managed to do this year, and kill the aphids, which I've also managed to do, then they're not so bad. Now, why that one's broken, I don't know, but that one's broken off. Yeah. Happy Valentine. That would make a nice little thing wrapped in a bit of silver foil, dipped into a little sort of container with some water, and send that to somebody nice. Not that I do such things, but yeah, we'll end on that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.